How did a wilderness become the world's most elegant capital? We stand on the shores of the Baltic Sea, where the Neva River flows into the Gulf of Finland, in a place called Saint Petersburg. It's not just a city, but a symbol of power, a bridge between the old and new worlds, and a testament to human resilience. Today, we'll explore its magnificent boulevards and dark history to discover why it remains the soul of Russia. If you're ready to uncover the secrets of the North, sign up and join us as we dive deep into the heart of an empire. The city was never meant to be Russian in its appearance. Peter the Great turned his back on the traditional wooden architecture of Moscow and looked toward Europe. He invited the finest architects from Italy, France, and Germany to create a masterpiece of stone and symmetry. They brought with them the Baroque and neoclassical styles that define the city to this day. You can see it in every column and every perfectly aligned street. Why would a Tsar abandon the ancient security of Moscow for a vulnerable coastline? The answer lies in the Great Northern War against Sweden. By capturing this territory, Peter secured a vital maritime gateway that Russia desperately needed. St. Petersburg became the new capital in 1712, shifting the entire political gravity of the empire. For over 2 centuries, every major decision that shaped the Russian world happened here. But a city is more than its buildings. It is defined by its name, and this city has had many. It began as Saint Petersburg, a name honoring Saint Peter the Apostle and reflecting the Tsar's love for Dutch and German culture. However, names are often victims of politics and war. In 1914, as World War I erupted, the Germanic name became a symbol of the enemy. Tsar Nicholas II renamed the city Petrograd to sound more traditionally Russian. The change did not stop there, as the fires of revolution consumed the old imperial order. After the death of Vladimir Lenin in 1924, the Soviet government decided to honor their leader by renaming the city Leningrad. For nearly 70 years, this was the name known to the world, a name synonymous with Soviet power and communist ideology. It was a period where the imperial ghosts of the past were hidden behind the red banners of the future. Then came 1991, a year of collapse and rebirth. As the Soviet Union dissolved, the people were asked to choose the identity of their home once again. Through a historic referendum, the original name, St. Petersburg, was restored to the city. Even today, locals often use the nickname Peter, a casual reminder of the city's long and complex evolution. Is a name just a label, or does it carry the weight of a city's destiny? To understand the true strength of St. Petersburg, we must look at its darkest hour during World War II. The Siege of Leningrad remains one of the most horrific and heroic chapters in human history. For 872 days, the city was cut off from the world by German forces. It was a systematic attempt to starve a population into submission. Have you ever considered how long you could survive when the food runs out and the temperature drops below freezing? The numbers are staggering and difficult to comprehend. Over 1 million civilians lost their lives during the blockade, mostly from starvation and the extreme cold. People were reduced to eating wallpaper paste and leather belts just to stay alive. Yet, through the hunger and the constant shelling, the city refused to surrender. They kept the factories running and the musicians playing, proving that the human spirit is harder than any iron wall. Spread across 42 islands, The city is a labyrinth of water and stone. The Neva River is the main artery, but hundreds of smaller canals branch out like veins. This layout has earned it the title of the Venice of the North. But unlike the warm waters of Italy, these canals are lined with the cold, majestic granite of the Russian north. The bridges are the most iconic part of this aquatic landscape. There are over 300 bridges in the city, and many of them are masterpieces of engineering. During the navigation season, the massive drawbridges across the Neva rise in the middle of the night. This allows large ships to pass from the Baltic Sea into the interior of Russia. Watching the bridges rise against the twilight sky is a ritual that every visitor must experience. Because the city sits so far north, it experiences a phenomenon known as the White Nights. From late May to early July, the sun barely dips below the horizon, and the sky never truly gets dark. The city becomes a surreal stage of soft, pearlescent light that lasts until morning. People walk the streets at 2 in the morning as if it were the middle of the afternoon. It is a time of magic, festivals, and a strange, sleepless energy that transforms the atmosphere. However, this beauty comes with a constant threat from the water. For centuries, the city suffered from devastating floods when the wind pushed the Baltic waters back into the Neva. In the year 1824, the water rose nearly 4 meters, causing destruction that was immortalized in literature. To solve this, the massive Saint Petersburg Dam was completed in the early 21st century. It is a testament to how the city continues to fight and negotiate with the nature that surrounds it. The climate here is a character in its own right, often described as moody and unpredictable. The winters are long and gray, with snow covering the imperial statues for months on end. The frozen rivers become solid paths of ice, and the pale northern sun barely skims the rooftops. It is a harsh environment that demands a certain toughness from those who call it home. But when the short, mild summer arrives, the city explodes into a vibrant celebration of life. Saint Petersburg is the maritime gateway of the Russian Federation. Its port is one of the most important in the world, handling millions of tons of cargo every year. It is a center for shipbuilding, where massive icebreakers and naval vessels are constructed. This industrial strength is the backbone that supports the city's cultural luxury. From heavy machinery to high-tech energy solutions, the city is a powerhouse of modern production. The city also serves as a financial and commercial hub, hosting the headquarters of major international corporations. It is a place where old-world trade routes meet the digital economy of the 21st century. The contrast between the historic palaces and the modern skyscrapers reflects a city that is always moving forward. It remains a vital link between the resources of the Russian interior and the markets of the European continent. If you walk down Nevsky Prospect, you are walking through the heart of Russian architecture. This grand avenue is lined with cathedrals, palaces, and shops that tell the story of 3 centuries. You will find the Church of the Savior on Blood, with its colorful domes marking the spot of an imperial assassination. Nearby, the Kazan Cathedral stands with its massive semicircular colonnade, inspired by St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Every building is a layer of history waiting to be peeled back. The Winter Palace is perhaps the most famous building in all of Russia. Once the primary residence of the Tsars, its green and white facade is a masterpiece of the Baroque style. It stands as a symbol of the absolute power that once ruled this vast land. Today, It forms part of the Hermitage Museum, one of the oldest and largest museums in the world. It is said that if you spent 1 minute looking at every object in the Hermitage, it would take you years to see it all. The collection inside the Hermitage is a treasure chest of human history. From Egyptian mummies to the paintings of Leonardo da Vinci and Rembrandt, the museum is a testament to the Tsar's obsession with collecting the best of world culture. It was Catherine the Great who truly expanded the collection, using the empire's wealth to buy entire galleries from across Europe. She wanted to prove that Russia was not just a military power, but a center of enlightenment. Just outside the city center, the imperial residences offer a different kind of grandeur. Peterhof, known as the Russian Versailles, features a series of golden fountains that gravity-feed water down to the sea. The Catherine Palace in Tsarskoye Selo is famous for its bright blue walls and the legendary Amber Room. These estates were built to impress foreign dignitaries and to show that the Russian court was just as sophisticated as those in Paris or London. Saint Petersburg has always been a city of thinkers and creators. It was here that the golden age of Russian literature was born. Think of the psychological depth of Fyodor Dostoevsky, who walked these very streets while writing about the struggles of the human soul. Or Alexander Pushkin, the greatest poet of the nation, whose life ended in a tragic duel on the outskirts of the city. Their shadows are still visible in the narrow alleys and misty embankments. Modern St. Petersburg is a city that carefully balances its heritage with the demands of the future. While the historic center is protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, new developments like the Lakhta Center skyscraper show a city reaching for the clouds. It is a place where you can find a centuries-old bakery next to a high-tech startup office. This duality is what keeps the city vibrant and relevant in a changing world. As we look at St. Petersburg today, we see a place that has survived revolutions, sieges, and the fall of empires. It has been a capital, a battlefield, and a museum. It remains a symbol of Russia's complex relationship with the West, always looking outward while remaining deeply rooted in its own soil. It is a city that teaches us about the persistence of beauty even in the face of the most extreme adversity. What can we learn from the story of this northern capital? Perhaps the most important lesson is that greatness requires both vision and endurance. Peter the Great had the vision to build where others saw nothing, but the people of the city had the endurance to keep it alive through the darkest nights of history. Success is not just about the moment of creation, it is about the will to preserve and protect what has been built. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the streets of St. Petersburg. This city reminds us that history is not just in books, it is carved into the stone and reflected in the water all around us. Which part of St. Petersburg's history surprised you the most? Was it the brutal siege or the magical white nights? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating places. We will see you in the next story.